Hello, friends. I'm putting up a behind-the-scenes members video of Bernie, the third one. I have so much members content to put up, so you guys get pumped up. Good morning to all.
Indeed. Smash the like button.
Hello, friends.
We will wait for some more folks to trickle in. Like button right under the video. Smash it. Live from Cleveland. Live from Cleveland on election day here. Hold on, I'm just typing something.
We're multitasking today. There's a lot to do. Obviously, you guys, I'm sure, saw the Governor Andrew Cuomo news. We will be addressing that. And there are some shenanigans, surprise, surprise, popping up here in the 11th District of Ohio, where there's a special election today. Nina Turner and her closest opponent, Shontel Brown. A lot of money flooding in against Nina.
Yes. And yeah, honestly, I usually have a pretty good, gut instinct on elections. I don't really like to make predictions per se, but honestly, I don't really have a gut feel for this one. I think it's going to be really close. I think, at the end of the day, there's been a barrage of negative ads, particularly against Nina, that, might be powerful, might be persuasive to some. But I also think in an election like this, which is a special election in the dead of summer, beginning of August, it's really going to come down to which campaign outworks the other. And from everything I've seen and everything I've heard, Nina Turner's campaign has a much, much stronger ground game as we speak. People knocking on doors. And in congressional primaries or special elections, because again, this election is a special election because it's to replace Marcia Fudge, who was the congresswoman here for a long time. It's also about making sure people know about it, because a lot of people do not know. When there's a special election, often they don't even know there's a congressional primary. They don't know about it. They don't know when it is. So just knocking on their door, they're learning about it for the first time. This is a really impoverished area, particularly Cleveland, which has one of the worst childhood poverty rates in the country. Akron, which is part of the district, is also pretty impoverished. So yeah, we'll be on the ground. We might go to a polling place after this live stream to see what's going on. We'll definitely be tonight live from Nina Turner's, victory party, hopefully. But we got a lot to talk about. And of course, at the last minute, the Democratic establishment and Hillary Clinton's old, basically media hands, at the last minute, they basically revived that Nina Turner is like a Jill Stein bro, and that she wasn't loyal to Hillary Clinton and she voted for Jill Stein, which, is kind of a sign that they might be scared. If that's what they're doing in the last 24 hours, it was trending before Jill Stein because they are, circulating a clip where Nina Turner wouldn't say who she voted for. So we'll get into that. But I think we should start and keep smashing the like button and share this live stream. Obviously, with the breaking news that the New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, who, killed a lot of people through his reckless decisions with COVID and nursing homes, the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, just came out with a blistering report. I believe they spoke with nearly 200 people, current state employees of New York, former state employees, people outside of government. And they found that Governor Cuomo sexually harassed and, from what it sounds to me, assaulted upwards of 11 women. And it's just, honestly, they're talking politics here in terms of will he resign, will the state legislature impeach him? I'd like to know, because the New York Attorney General did mention that he broke laws. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to know why the conversation is only about politics and not about criminal liability.
Yeah. So I want to go through some of the allegations. not allegations, the findings. Now we have these findings. There was a very thorough investigation, and I have to say that I'm quite impressed with how thorough it was. And I think they did a damn good job, I have to say, with AG Letitia James heading it up. So after this presser, they released the actual investigative report. It is 168 pages long. So again, some of what I say might be triggering or upsetting, especially to women who've been through this. I tweeted as such during the press conference. I honestly, like, you can't help your reaction if you've been through things like this. Yeah, I cried listening to the things that he has done to women, which this investigation found. So just some examples here. Again, this is triggering, so maybe mute for this part. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I do find it important to highlight because these women were brave in coming forward. So executive assistant number 1, since approximately late 2019, the governor engaged in a pattern of inappropriate conduct with this woman, including close and intimate hugs, kisses on the cheeks, forehead, and at least one kiss on the lips, touching and grabbing of this assistant's butt during hugs, and on one occasion while taking selfies with him. Comments and jokes by the governor about this woman's personal life and relationships, including calling her and another assistant mingle mamas, inquiring multiple times about whether she had cheated or would cheat on her husband, and asking her to help him find a girlfriend. These interactions culminated in an incident at the executive mansion in November 2020, when the governor, during another close hug with this executive assistant, number 1, reached under her blouse and grabbed her breast. For over 3 months, executive assistant number 1 kept this groping incident to herself and planned to take it to the grave, but found herself becoming emotional in a way that was visible to her colleagues in the executive chamber while watching the governor state at a press conference on March 3rd, 2021, that he had never touched anyone inappropriately. That is obviously a lie. And she had at the time confided in some of her colleagues who had then reported her allegations to senior staff. So I want to pause before I share more of the details from additional women, again, 11. They also spoke during this press conference about the environment in this workspace in general. So not only was Andrew Cuomo sexually harassing and sexually assaulting, by the way, CNN, you keep just saying sexually harassed. No, grabbing someone's breast, that's assault. Get it right. And so there's complicity here among, Cuomo's closest confidants and assistants.
You should also add that on top of the harassment, what you just described, I don't think going into a woman's blouse and touching her breast is harassment. That's assault. I mean, I don't know why they're calling that harassment.
I just said that.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with you. That's
Yeah.
assault. But secondarily, there was a retaliation element because Cuomo's office, particularly Charlotte, I forget her last name, Charlotte, who was working in administration, Cuomo had her, I think she was in her 20s, often Charlotte Bennett, often come over to the executive mansion, made inappropriate comments. They tried to retaliate against her after she complained by essentially spinning it that she's really basically a secret or basically working with Republicans to bring him down and somehow was basically essentially a Republican operative, trying to take him down. Cuomo's advisors had to talk him out of going forward with that smear campaign.
Same thing against Lindsey Boylan.
Right.
Basically,
Cuomo's advisors had to talk him out of that smear campaign that this 20-something-year-old who was a victim of Cuomo's was really just kind of a Republican operative or part of a Republican smear campaign. So there's the harassment, there's the assault, there's the political retaliation, and obviously this is not just Cuomo. His top aides emboldened this. His top aides not only retaliated against the women, but had a long history of basically threatening media to actually look into this, because these kind of things don't just happen overnight. The media likely knew about some of this for a long time. And, they're talking about politics right now on air. Will he resign?
Will he run again? Can he win? What the hell are you doing?
Can he sustain this? To me, clearly he should resign. And to me, there should be some criminal liability, because retaliation in the workplace is illegal. This same attorney general has sued Amazon. The New York attorney general has sued Amazon for retaliating against Christian Smalls. Obviously a much different situation.
Yeah.
But that is a crime. And it seems to me if the women decide to, they might have some criminal
Right.
complaints.
So I want to finish highlighting the women's stories and then give some additional analysis here. So, and again, keep in mind, these are women who are trying to do their job. They were in the role that they were in or are in for a reason, because they wanted to be in that job, because they wanted to have a role in politics or a hand in, being present for the governor's, running of the state of New York. Here they are trying to do their jobs, and this is what happens. So additionally, in addition to those who directly worked for him, he also sexually harassed a trooper that was assigned to protect him. In early November 2017, the governor briefly met a New York State trooper, designated in the report as Trooper Number 1, a woman, at an event on the Robert F. Kennedy Bridge. After meeting Trooper 1, he spoke with a senior member of his protective staff about asking this trooper to join the Protective Services Unit, the unit of the New York State Police that is in charge of protecting the governor and works in close vicinity of the governor. Trooper 1 was then hired into the PSU, despite not meeting the requirement to have at least 3 years of state police service. And in an email, it was joked about, saying, haha, they changed the minimum from 3 years to 2 just for you. So after this trooper, this female trooper, by the request of the governor, joined the PSU, the governor sexually harassed her on a number of occasions, including by, and this is assault again, like I don't know why we're using the word harassed, running his hand across her stomach from her belly button to her right hip while she held open a door for him at the event, running his finger down her back from the top of her neck down her spine to the middle of her back, saying, "Hey you," while she was standing in front of him in an elevator, kissing her and only her on the cheek in front of another trooper and asking to kiss her on another occasion, which she deflected, making sexually suggestive and gender-based comments, including asking her to help him find a girlfriend and describing his criteria for a girlfriend as someone who can handle pain. Asking her why she wanted to get married when marriage means your sex drive goes down, asking her why she did not wear a dress. These were corroborated, of course. Then there's Charlotte Bennett, who Jordan just spoke about. In a series of conversations in 2020 with an aide, Charlotte Bennett, the governor made inappropriate comments, including, among many other things, telling Miss Bennett, in talking about potential girlfriends for him, that he would be willing to date someone who was as young as 22 years old. He knew Miss Bennett was 25 at the time, asking her whether she had been with older men, saying to her during the pandemic that he was lonely and wanted to be touched, asking whether Miss Bennett was monogamous, telling Miss Bennett, after she told him that she was considering getting a tattoo for her birthday, that if she did decide to get a tattoo, she should get it on her butt where it could not be seen, asking her whether she had piercings other than in her ears, saying that he wanted to ride his motorcycle into the mountains with a woman. These were contemporaneously corroborated in text exchanges that Charlotte Bennett had at the time. And she actually reported these interactions to the governor's chief of staff. And instead of taking action in ways they should have done, they moved Charlotte Bennett to a different position where she would not interact with the governor. And the investigators stated that the actions that the people surrounding Governor Cuomo took were to protect him, not to protect the women. So that is especially highlighted here with Charlotte Bennett. There's also state entity employee number 1. So he put his hand on her butt, tapped it twice, then grabbed her butt. That's assault. There's Virginia Limiatis, and she was in a rope line to meet with the governor among other attendees, and she wore a shirt that had the name of an energy company written across the chest. When the governor reached her, he ran 2 fingers across her chest, pressing down on each of the letters as he did and reading out the name of the energy company as he went. The governor then leaned in with his face close to her cheek and said, "I'm going to say I see a spider on your shoulder," before brushing his hand in the area between her shoulder and breast, below her collarbone. She was shocked, and she immediately informed another of attendees. Then there's Lindsey Boylan, who a lot of progressives are familiar with. During the period in which Lindsey Boylan served as chief of staff to the CEO of Empire State Development Corporation, and later as deputy secretary for economic development and special advisor to the governor, among other things, engaged in the following harassing conduct on the basis of her gender. Commented on her appearance and attractiveness, including comparing her to a former girlfriend and describing her as attractive. Paid attention to her in a way that led her supervisor at ESD to say that the governor had a crush on her, and asking her whether she needed help in dealing with the governor's conduct. Physically touched her on various parts of her body, including her waist, legs, and back. Made inappropriate comments, including saying to her once on a plane, "Are you okay?" Sorry, folks.
Just realized my engagement ring went down the second. Keep going.
Okay. Wow. Uh-oh. Okay. Physically touched her on various parts of her body, including her waist, legs, and back. Made inappropriate comments, including saying to her once on a plane words to the effect of, "Let's play strip poker," and kissed her on the cheek and on one occasion on the lips. Our investigation identified corroboration once again. And Lindsey Boylan, she was pretty outspoken on this. And to emphasize yet again, there was a huge kind of smear campaign planned that Cuomo had to be talked down from to lie about and discredit Lindsey Boylan. There's Alyssa McGrath, and this was another executive assistant, and Governor Cuomo made inappropriate comments and engaged in harassing conduct, asking her about her marital status, asking whether Ms. McGrath would tell an executive assistant, number 1, so the other woman, if she were to cheat on her husband, and whether Ms. McGrath herself planned to mingle with men on their upcoming trip to Florida. And staring down her loose shirt, commenting on her necklace. There's Caitlin, whose last name has not been revealed. He took pictures with her in a dance pose, which made her uncomfortable. Caitlin was hired and proved to receive a salary of $120,000. During the year she worked at the executive chamber, the governor instructed her to act like a sponge, soak up knowledge, and basically demeaned her throughout her time there. Asked about how certain members of his senior staff, known as the Mean Girls, were treating her, commented on her appearance, made fun of her clothing, commented if she wasn't wearing makeup that she was not prepared for work. On one occasion, asked her to look up car parts on eBay so that she would bend over in order to do so, and the governor sat directly behind her in his office, making her feel uncomfortable. Caitlin's colleagues at the state agency she moved to after she left the executive chamber witnessed and corroborated the impact her experiences at the executive chamber had on her. And she was visibly distressed whenever she had to return to the executive chamber's offices again for work. There's Anna Liss. During the time that Anna Liss worked as an aide in the executive chamber, the governor addressed her almost exclusively as sweetheart or darling. On occasion, kissed her on the cheeks and hand, slid his hand around her lower waist, commented on her appearance, asked her about her dating status, and generally made her feel uncomfortable. There's also state entity employee number 2, and he would make sexually inappropriate jokes and do disgusting things to her. Anna Rush. So this was at a wedding party. When the governor approached a guest, Anna Rush stuck her hand out and then quickly moved, the governor shook her hand and then quickly moved his hands to her back, touching her bare skin where there was a cutout in her dress. Feeling uncomfortable, she grabbed the governor's wrist and removed his hand. And then the governor remarked, "Wow, you're aggressive." After which the governor cupped her face in his hands and said, "Can I kiss you?" Then she tried to move and turn her face away, and the governor kissed her anyway. So this is corroborated by photographic evidence. So again, the report is extraordinarily thorough. There was a lot of harassment of the investigators in this case, of AG James. I think all signs point to the governor and the governor's office wanting to keep this under wraps. And still we have CNN saying, "Can he win in another election?" I think all women, most women, have had moments where, you know, you're like walking through the street or you're walking through a bar and a guy will like put his hand like right above your ass or something and be like, "Excuse me," or you know, we've all had those times where we're just creeped the hell out, where guys think that they are allowed to touch us, that it's flattering to do and say the things that they do. And to men out there, get over yourselves. Stop treating women like that. Like women who want to simply like hang out with their friends. They don't want you to touch them on the ass. That's not what they want. That's not what they asked for. That is harassment. Don't do it. This, of course, goes far beyond that. This is sexual harassment, sexual assault at work specifically, as well as in personal interactions. Yeah, again, there were, I don't remember the exact number of witnesses, but well over 100, maybe up to, I think they said 125, but you heard maybe closer to 200.
I thought I saw 179 people they spoke with.
Okay, so yeah, so this is heavily corroborated, but you know, even when I'm out reporting, like guys, I'm just trying to do my job or whatever, and men will do and say like gross things. They think I can tell they're like trying to be flattering, but it's like, no dude, just trying to report here. So stop, don't do that. Importantly, I give a major shout out to all of these women who came forward, and I think a lot of women especially, but hopefully anyone with a brain and a heart, are astonished that unless something else happens, nothing's going to happen to Governor Cuomo. The investigation is done, but right now, that's it. So unless something else is filed, some other balls move, public pressure, whatever, nothing's going to come of this. And according to reporting on CNN, those close to the governor who know him well say he won't resign, even now.
Yeah, don't worry. We're getting to the election, but you kind of have to start with breaking news that the governor of one of the biggest states in the country was just found to be a sexual harasser and assaulter. We will get to the election, don't worry. A couple things before we move on, and smash that like button. We already have 350 people watching. I think there's a couple other elements here other than just the horrendous things the governor did. First of all, I've covered like state government enough to know these aren't the kind of things that were not known. These are not the kind of things, if somebody is, particularly a governor, is a serial harasser, groping women, he transferred the state trooper over to his personal security detail and then, harassed her. It's not like these things were likely not known within state government. Among the Democrats, certainly the Republicans, frankly, The governor's brother is a primetime host on CNN, which is a whole different story. We do know from other reporting the governor's brother, Chris Cuomo, was advising him and was on like strategy calls with the governor and his advisors while the governor was dealing with the initial barrage of complaints. So, yes, it's good that we have these specific findings, and it was clearly very thorough, and a credit to New York Attorney General Letitia James. But don't be fooled into thinking like New York State Democrats weren't aware or never heard about the governor treating staffers this way. Let's not pretend national Democrats, Pelosi, Schumer, Biden, Obama, who were tied at the hip to Cuomo. Remember, in the early days of the pandemic, MSNBC, CNN, the Democrats were like propping this man up as like Jesus because of his wonderful press conferences while he was making decisions that led to the deaths of thousands of senior citizens, sending COVID patients back to nursing homes that killed people. And they were propping him up. So clearly this is about Cuomo, but it happens in a wider dynamic of Democratic Party officials who knew he was doing this. I don't know if they knew he was physically touching women, but they certainly knew about the culture there. They certainly knew about the complaints of his unwanted things he was saying, unwanted things he was doing. So let's not pretend that this happened, in a vacuum, and Democrats are just suddenly finding out about this. Of course, they'll do the political thing. They'll do the political thing. The bathroom sink. They'll do the political thing, which is to come out calling for him to resign, pretend this is the first time they're hearing about it. They knew. A governor doesn't do all this without it being pretty widely known. So that's one thing. Number two, to be fair, Chris Cuomo is not Andrew Cuomo, but I think some questions need to be asked over at CNN because Chris Cuomo was, CNN just issued a statement when it came out that Chris Cuomo was on strategy calls with his brother about this. I mean, I'm an open progressive. I don't claim to be biased, but I certainly wouldn't be on strategy calls. Unbiased. I don't think I'd be on strategy calls with my brother if he was a politician accused of, assault, harassment. So what did Chris Cuomo know? Yeah, you could say, well, it's his brother. I'm sure he believed his brother, that his brother didn't do these things, but Chris Cuomo's not a dummy. I'm not saying don't be loyal to your brother. Your brother can do bad things and you still love your brother. But what did Chris Cuomo know? And by the way, same thing goes for New York State politicians, Democrats nationally. Did CNN reporters not know about any of this stuff? Because, you hear things while you're covering politicians. So I think there's broader questions than just, he should resign, obviously. Frankly, it's not for me to tell women what to do, but, there is the possibility that they could file criminal charges in the specific areas this happened, Albany, for example. But I don't think this stops at Cuomo. The Democratic Party clearly knew. And broader than that, this is it's not just New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. A lot of the same politicians that are going to be tweeting out today for him to resign and they're aghast probably have some skeletons in their closet, for sure. You have anything else to add before we move on?
Yeah, I just want to add that I think in addition to like the everyday instances of harassment and just like gross behavior that women have to deal with and kind of just like let roll off their back, a large number of women have been assaulted and harassed in deeper ways, and I think that is a very triggering thing for a lot of us, including myself. It brings up a lot of pain for a lot of us, and I know I'm not the only woman who was crying during that press conference because of that pain being brought up. So I just want those who might be struggling or for whom this is triggering, like, to know that you're not alone, and So,
Oh, apparently Cuomo is speaking in 10 minutes. So
We'll keep an eye.
we'll keep an eye. My assumption is he will be fiery and indignant and deny most of this because that's who he is. So we'll keep an eye on it. So, a couple things. We've been in Cleveland and Akron for a few days. Today is the election. Just so you know, this district is Cleveland and Akron, northeast Ohio. 700,000 people live in the district. Already there's been nearly 30,000 people that have early voted. So that can kind of go both ways, but it's a good sign. I think if Nina Turner's going to win, one of the ways she would win is high voter turnout. Chantel Brown's campaign basically openly said they're better off. Oh, you got it.
Oh my God! Yay!
Wow.
Well, part of it.
Muting, right?
No.
No, it was read.
Folks, so to update you, Jordan's wedding ring fell down the drain. So a plumber from the hotel is trying to get it out. So positive vibes, prayers, whatever you do, that it can be recovered. I guess the plumber just found an earring instead of the ring. So yeah, sucks.
So, hope my wife's not watching. So, thank you for the super chat. Coup, Muhar Rabib, thanks for you guys, all the work you do. So, as I said in the beginning of this stream, I'd love to give you an idea or our predictions. I don't really know. I mean, I just don't know because it's a special election. It really comes down to voter turnout. This is an area that traditionally votes for establishment candidates. Marcia Fudge, who was the congressperson, she won in November her re-election by 60 points over the Republican. So it's a very vote blue no matter who kind of place. Polling months ago that came out showed Nina with a commanding lead, and that is why the Democratic Party nationally and their corrupt corporatist super PACs started flooding this area with attack ads on Nina Turner, attack ads basically that she, is not a real Democrat, attack ads that she has criticized President Biden, attack ads that even smears that she doesn't really believe in universal health care, that she doesn't believe in raising the minimum wage. Those were mailers that went out in the mail. And Nina Turner, to her credit, has fought back rather than, being like Bernie and saying, my friend Chantel Brown, and being diplomatic. No, she went on the air. She went on the air with heavy-duty negative ads against Chantel Brown. Chantel Brown is a local, he found it? Is a local city, you got it?
It was behind the trash can.
Nice.
Oh my gosh! Yay, guys! Success!
Nice.
Give him a major tip. I don't know. 1 second, Colin. Why don't you hop on?
Found my wedding band. Awesome. We're doing this live. So my wedding band fell down the sink drain, but fortunately, the kind hotel worker was able to get it. So really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Got to get this tightened, I guess, because it keeps falling off. So it's close. But what I will say, being here for days, I mean, it's not even a competition really in terms of who has a bigger ground game. Nina Turner has people from all over the country here knocking on doors. We met people yesterday from LA who came in. We met people from Virginia. We met people from Texas. We met people from Washington State. There's people from all over this country who are here during the dead of summer knocking on doors for her. And in a special election, that will make the difference. Because honestly, as we were saying in the beginning, part of the challenge, if you want to win, is making sure people know there's an election. Most people are not political diehards. Most people, just work their jobs or two jobs, come home, raise their family. They don't watch status quo. They might not even watch a lot of local news. So they might not know there's a special election. I have been talking to volunteers with Nina's campaign, and they are saying that they're getting a really good response knocking on doors. From what I've seen with Chantel Brown's campaign, Yeah, they're probably knocking on doors, but they do not have volunteers from everywhere knocking on doors. So it really might come down to out hustling the other campaign. The other thing I'll say, to me, it speaks volumes that really Chantel Brown, the main corporatist establishment, scumbag that she had. Well, I shouldn't say scumbag, but the main corporate stooge that she had was James Clyburn. So he's been here, and we're going to show you a clip. He was on with Don Lemon last night, and apparently his big pitch to vote for Chantel Brown is Nina Turner doesn't have good manners. That was his main pitch. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. His main pitch was, oh, well, my grandmother or somebody taught me, you got to have good manners. So we've heard that from James Clyburn, basically saying Nina Turner doesn't have good manners, which really is code for she will not be a dutiful servant to the Democratic establishment in corporate America. By the way, James Clyburn gets the most money from Big Pharma of any congressperson in the United Corporations of America. So we saw that from James Clyburn. Then we saw last night and this morning them reviving the 2016 Jill Stein business.
Well, I want to get deep into that, but first I want to tell about this amazing plumber. So we wanted to give him a tip, but none of us have cash right now. So I wanted to write down his name so we could leave something at the front desk for him, because that is such a relief that he found Jordan's ring. And he declined like 3 times. And he said, basically no tip, happy to do it. Just do something nice that helps someone else, kind of like pay it forward. So I told him that we're journalists, and it turns out that his wife is also a journalist. And so, there are good people in this world. So I just wanted to share that story.
And I appreciate it. I'm going to have to tighten this ring.
Yeah, you just stop by a jewelry store and get it.
So they started with that. Then, Colin, so they've been pushing this Jill Stein thing. I don't really think it's going to make a difference, because honestly, I don't think the majority of voters here are on Twitter following, the K-Hive and Kamala Harris trolls and Hillary Clinton trolls that are, pushing, clearly Nina Turner didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. She has said it's private, but she clearly didn't. And you want to know what? Good for her. Neither did I. And I'm not going to be shamed for it. And honestly, I think really you're seeing the same exact playbook that they used against Bernie in 2016, 2020. They cannot actually challenge Nina Turner on policy at all, because her policies are wildly popular, including in this district. She's been running. I know a lot of people online think, are saying she's not for Medicare for all. I'm watching her ads on television for Medicare for all. She's talking about Medicare for all at every rally. So they can't really challenge her on substance per se. So they do bullshit like this. Here is corporate Democratic stooge Tom Watson. I don't know if you could zoom in on it. He tweets, well, let me start from the beginning. He tweets, the open lies told in service of the narrative. Let me zoom in on it. The open lies told in service of the narrative in Ohio 11 show just how bad political reporting has gotten in this country. All these reporters feel they have to push a script and openly serve one slice of the fame-driven politics. Chantel Brown isn't the Stop Turner candidate. She's Marcia Fudge's protege. She was always running, homegrown, knowledgeable about the district, ready to move up. We'll get to ready to move up soon. Then he says, and this is just fucking comical to me, the establishment candidate is Turner, who, like most green room types, basically portrays a character on national TV. She's the one with a CNN contract, the DC lobbying firm, the Maryland home, the Rolodex of bold-faced names parachuting into Ohio, and by far the most money. So, I responded to Tommy Watson, who, by the way, I think is a paid op. I don't know.
like this is.
Yeah, I think is a paid op. So I just wrote LOL, which I don't often use. Tom Watson, Nina Turner is the establishment candidate, while Chantel Brown, the recipient of millions of corporate Dem super PAC dollars, is the scrappy, homegrown, quote, ready-to-move-up candidate. You get more silly, slimy each election cycle. So then he responded with some bullshit that, oh, at least Chantel Brown's not running lock her up ads. So I thought he was talking that Nina Turner is like running ads similar to like Donald Trump, lock her up. So I said, what the hell are you talking about? So he wrote back, citing the Washington Post, that Nina Turner is running ads showing a prison or a jail cell at the end of the ad, basically pointing out that Chantel Brown is actively under an ethics investigation for allegedly using government contracts for her and distributing government contracts to her romantic partner. So I said to Tom Watson, is there a lie in that ad? Is there a lie in that ad? It would be political malpractice, and frankly, Bernie wouldn't have done it, so I'm glad Nina did it, to not run an ad pointing out that your opponent, if elected, is under or might be under criminal investigation. So this is what is the pattern here, and we're seeing it on the ground here. Tom Watson and stooges like Tom Watson, they cannot respond on the substance. They cannot actually point that Chantel Brown is better on policy. And by the way, I'm a white dude, but I don't know, calling a strong black woman a green room TV character, I don't know, kind of low-key. Biden.
Joe Biden, yay.
I'm the most loyal to Uncle Joe. That's not a policy. That's not going to help the people of Cleveland. It's really telling to me that they literally have nothing else other than to paint Nina Turner as some type of socialist Jill Stein commie, when she's actually known in this district because she was a city council person, she was an Ohio state senator, and they actually think basically Jill Steining her on the eve of the election is going to work.
Yeah, so it's been a really, frustrating. Cuomo is on, just as an update now, he is speaking right now, denying sexual harassment after the report. Colin, can you turn on closed captions, please? Yeah, so it's been a frustrating morning because they are absolutely, you probably said this earlier, but they're stealing from the 2016 playbook. They're literally using Hillary Clinton campaign tactics, including using the usual suspects in the journalist world, in the corporate media world, to run the same old smear campaigns. So when you read these articles that are talking about Nina Turner versus Chantel Brown, take a look at who they are quoting, who they have. When you're a journalist, you make specific decisions on who you ask for quotes. And so when you're peppering all of your quotes in with just anti-Nina stuff, and it's a so-called balanced article about, that's how you're framing it, that's BS. We also, once again, to reemphasize, they're circulating, these corporate stooges, they're circulating a video that is old and claiming that it just happened. And in some cases, this lie has gotten so passed around, to try to connect Nina Turner to Jill Stein, that it's been shared thousands and thousands and thousands of times, thinking that she just said this. So again, are the folks of Ohio 11 on Twitter right now? I mean, I don't know, enough to make a dent? I don't know. But when you combine that with the billboards, which I posted on our, actually it's probably on my Twitter, at Jen Elizabeth J, you can see it. And I'm not sure if I had time to post this, but on our Instagram at Status Coup, you can see the billboards. These are billboards all over Cleveland that are anti-Nina Turner. One in particular run by a pro-Israel group that has joined up in the fight against Nina Turner. So when you combine the effect of like having Jill Stein and Nina Turner's names trending today, all of these so-called trustworthy journalists talking about the Jill Stein-Nina Turner connection today, all of these weirdly highly followed, highly retweeted Dem, probably astroturfing accounts getting thousands, hundreds of retweets or thousands of retweets about this Jill Stein-Nina Turner smear. And, you know, when you combine all of these things, all of these efforts, all of the lobbyist money, the pharma money, the Trump supporter money, the Dem establishment money, when you combine all of these things together, yeah, it could make a difference. The lies can travel further when they're amplified, including on Twitter, even if, you know, most people in Cleveland and Akron aren't staring at their Twitter app today.
I think also, honestly, to me, listen, it's a special election, so like I said, it's a total crapshoot. We just don't know. I think Nina Turner has a really good chance to win. I think she is more well-known than Shontel Brown. But the negative attack ads funded by the way, there's been nearly $2 million have been spent. Nearly $2 million have been spent between the Democratic Majority for Israel, a pro-Israel PAC that apparently is so concerned about the people of Cleveland and Akron. Third Way, which is a right-wing think tank that the media keeps calling centrist. It's Wall Street funded. So they're pouring in money here to stop Nina Turner. Nina Turner has gone on offense, going after Shontel Brown for the financial impropriety and other things. But it really comes down to who's going to knock on more doors. But I will say, if Nina Turner wins, you know, I think the national media is misportraying what this election means. One election does not mean, you know, oh, we're taking over the country and the progressive movement is winning. But what it does mean if Nina Turner wins, and welcome, by the way, new Status Coup YouTube member, Sharon, just
Yay,
signed up.
welcome,
and by the
Sharon.
way, Colin, if you could zoom in on this for the 560 people watching. Folks, I don't know if you believe in miracles. We're 85 members away from 2,000. 85 members away from 2,000. So if we can get, I think we got between, in the last 2 days, I think we've gotten 15 new members. It's election day, baby. Do you see any other independent outlets in the field? By the way, after this, we are going to Flint, Michigan, to continue reporting on what we just broke, which was the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. Go to the top of my Twitter if you have not seen the story we broke recently 2 weeks ago that still the Michigan media isn't covering and the national media isn't covering. We found evidence that the former governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder's top officials, deleted their phones, deleted their messages, and Snyder himself would not hand over documents to criminal prosecutors on Flint. And that was broken 2 weeks ago and still crickets. So we're going to Flint to continue pushing the story. And oh, by the way, 7 years later after poisoning these people, they're planning on switching the water again, which is not being covered in the national media. So they want to switch these poisoned people's water that they already poisoned. They're going to switch their water again, which just recently came out. So please support this independent, we don't take corporate cash, independent, in-the-field journalism. It's easy for everyone to just bloviate from their studios. There's a lot of different channels out there now that are ranting and raving, and they're doing commentary on other people's commentary on other people's commentary. It takes a lot of resources, money, and will to actually go out and show you what's happening. So we're going to be here, obviously, today, and then we're headed to Flint tomorrow.
Welcome, new Status Coup member, Daily
Yes.
Status Coup YouTube member. I want to point out that when you join as a member, you get a variety of perks, including, I have a lot of behind-the-scenes content yet to upload. We've been so busy here, I haven't been able to upload it all, but I promise that I will. But right now, if you join, either via the join button underneath this YouTube video or statuscoup.com/join, statuscoup.com/join, you'll get behind the scenes, not public, footage of Bernie Sanders, you know him, and Nina Turner, and much, much more. So you'll get footage from these folks like very close up to these folks from the march the other day. So if you want some behind the scenes Bernie, including, he would turn and chat with Nina a little bit, definitely sign up.
And thank you, Ken, just clipped $20. Thanks for everything you do, especially with Flint. Thank you. So I also want to show this clip from James Clyburn is so fucking crazy and so fucking batshit and so fucking disgusting. And if I said something like this, I would be painted as a white Bernie bro racist. But because James Clyburn says it, nobody blinks an eye. Colin, if we could play this whole disgusting clip. This is Human Wrecking Ball, James Clyburn, who, by the way, Biden would not be president without James Clyburn, okay? James Clyburn, by the way, takes the most money from Big Pharma of all Congress people. No wonder he doesn't want Medicare for all. Let's play this clip. Here's James Clyburn on with Don Lemon last night on why he's supporting Shontel Brown. If you notice, he doesn't actually give a reason for why he's supporting Shontel Brown other than her manners. Here we go.
Contentious primary going on in Ohio for Marsha Fudge's House seat. You're supporting Shontel Brown, but progressives are backing Nina Turner. Millions of dollars are being spent. Lots of attack ads, name calling. What do you think this outcome will mean for the direction of the party?
Well, it all depends upon what the results will be. I'm a great believer that we must do everything we can to elevate the political discourse in this country. We just had a president who lowered that discourse to a level unimaginable. We cannot have legislating by sound bites. And I am a big believer that we should be working on trying to make headway for the American people. But there seem to be people who are more interested in what the headline is, more interested in gotcha politics. And so I've been supporting Shontel because Shontel asked me to support her. Shontel is the kind of person that I think will help elevate the political discourse in this country. She is a big supporter of Joe Biden, and I have worked with her for about 10 years on Marsha Fudge's various events, and I think she will make an outstanding congressperson. And I do believe that, as my dad used to tell me all the time, the first sign of a good education is good manners. And I'm doing everything I possibly can to help people get elected to office who can bring that kind of attitude to the political discourse.
You're right about that. Yeah, my parents used to say that as well. I forgot about that saying.
Wow. Wow. I have a lot to say, so do you want to start?
Yeah, it's just, it's Clyburn. And he is trying to frame this as, so there's this, what did Nina Turner say, or like, you better speak on it in response to something Killer Mike said about Clyburn. And I believe, this is a complete paraphrase, but Killer Mike said something about, you should have asked for something from him first. So Nina Turner said something like, you better speak on it. So now they're using that as an attack. And Clyburn said, oh, well, if talking about asking for stuff from people, blah, 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 that's why I support Shontel. And it's like, okay. So your whole thing about Shontel is that she's yay Joe Biden? Are people yay Joe Biden enough for that to be like a drawing point? This is absolutely a heavily like blue Democrat place. So maybe that's enough, but also people are in deep trouble in this country. They're going bankrupt because they don't have health insurance. They're being evicted now, especially since the eviction moratorium has ended. Nina Turner has the policies that will help people, but I don't know like what's gonna win out here. The name Joe Biden and Jim Clyburn, or policies that will actually help people and that people actually care about. Like, is yay Joe Biden enough of a message?
So a few things. And by the way, welcome new Status Coup member, Allison. Woohoo!
Yay, Allison.
So we are now 1,914 86 members away. 86 members away from 2,000. Obviously, tough times for everybody. Right now, there's millions of people that are being evicted. We totally get if you can't support us. If you can support us, we believe in showing, not telling. And we are showing you by being here. We're going to Flint next. We just got back from a 2-week reporting trip. Did I mention there's a COVID variant that is very deadly? We're still out there. We're being careful, but we're still out there. So a few things. Number one, James Clyburn, who's a hack, just said, I'm supporting her because, number one, she asked me to. Okay. Number two, because in the last decade, I've worked on events with her for the previous congresswoman. So two things right off the bat that have nothing to do with the people of Cleveland, have nothing to do with the people of Akron, have nothing to do with getting them out of poverty or lifting them a little bit out of poverty, because it is really heavily bad poverty here. So she asked me to. I've basically seen her at events. And then he gets into what, frankly, he didn't have to say Nina Turner's name. We know who he's talking about. Sound bites, and, my daddy told me good manners. So basically, Clyburn is talking about a black woman who was an elected city council member. By all accounts, as a city council member here, she got things done and actually worked across the aisle at times. The establishment mayor of Cleveland, he's pretty establishment, has endorsed Nina Turner. Other city council people here have endorsed Nina Turner. Not like there's some Congress people who aren't like capital P progressive that have endorsed her, including Ted Lieu. Unions have endorsed her. So, did she not ask them for their endorsement nice enough, James? So this whole, we need to bring in people with good manners. Fuck you, okay? First of all, the planet's on fire. Millions of people have lost their health insurance because of this ridiculous system we have during this pandemic. A whole lot of people died that wouldn't have died if they had health insurance during this pandemic. We're living in the most unequal new Gilded Age since the Gilded Age. And you want to talk about manners? This shows you how corrupt, out of touch, disconnected people like Jim Clyburn is, that the media elevates as like, oh, the Papa Bear of the Democratic Party, the elder statesman. And by the way, if I, as a white dude, talked about Shontel Brown not having good manners, can you imagine the incoming fire I'd be getting? Rightly so. But because Clyburn basically just said Nina Turner isn't, she's not a dutiful servant. She's not well behaved enough. Crickets. Crickets. And these are the people that cry racism and sexism whenever you challenge them on policy. But he's talking about how Nina Turner doesn't have manners? Well, I don't know. If my family's being evicted, if I don't have health insurance or my family doesn't have health insurance, if I have to work 3 jobs, I might not have nice manners about it either. And it's just outrageous, the things he's saying. But I will also say, and to me, this is telling, the fact that other Democrats, other than Clyburn, did not endorse Shontel Brown and did not get involved. Politicians are about themselves, first and foremost. Politicians tend to shy away from endorsing people that they don't think will win, or they don't have a strong feeling will win. Pelosi didn't endorse Shontel Brown. Schumer didn't endorse Shontel Brown. I even thought there was a chance Obama would endorse Shontel Brown. None of them endorsed her. It was only Clyburn, kind of as this sacrificial establishment lamb coming in here. So that doesn't mean Shontel Brown won't win, but trust me, if they thought she had a great shot of winning, they'd all be endorsing her to stop Nina Turner. But I don't know. I just think between this new Jill Stein campaign at the last minute, between, smearing her, she didn't have to say Nina Turner's name, that she's basically not well behaved enough, not good manners. It's quite something. And it also shows you they clearly know they cannot attack her on Medicare for All or a Green New Deal or anything of substance because it won't work here.
Yeah, and someone in the chat asked, I think it was a super chat. Let me look. I did copy and paste it because they disappear. So Truth Bearer gave $5 in the super chat, and I apologize for those we are missing. Again, they do disappear. But saying how they tried to tie Nina Turner to Russia yet, and I specifically wanted to address this because yes, of course they have. So in a highly shared tweet today, what I would consider to be a suspicious account posted about Nina Turner's support for Jill Stein, and then posted, so they posted a picture of that, of like featuring Nina Turner's support of Jill Stein in 2016, and then posted a picture, that infamous picture of Jill Stein sitting in Russia at the dinner table with Putin. So yes, of course, they're trying to make these connections, and that was shared many hundreds of times. So yeah.
And just as an update, predictably, more elected officials are calling for Cuomo to resign. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who's an establishment hack. Congressman Gregory Meeks is an establishment hack. Congressman Tom Suozzi from my Long Island. They're all calling for him to resign. So even establishment hacks could do the right thing. They are calling for him to resign. We didn't see the whole thing, but Cuomo just held a video, it was a video, denying the allegations. Not shocking. I mean, I don't know. He might try to fight this, but I think at some point he'll have to resign just to save face for any future in anything. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like he's a very stubborn guy. If he does resign, I don't think it'll be for his future in anything, and I hope he has no future in anything. But I think probably the pressure from, like, he's going to lose all support from everyone because now he's poison, and it's going to be catching for anyone who dares support him right now, which is apt. I want to give some shout outs to those who are supporting this trip. It costs a lot, guys, to be here on the ground in Cleveland, which we've been here since Friday, I think. You lose track when you're on the road. But from the flights for 3 people, the hotel, food, rental car, the live view streaming cost, which is the device we use to go live in the field, it really adds up. We're a small viewer-supported company, and we know times are tough, but if you can support us, you can go to statuscoup.com/Nina Turner and see behind-the-scenes videos and footage and updates, but you can also, you'll see right at the top of the page, as well as interspersed to make it as easy as possible, you'll see a button where you can support us via any amount to help defray the cost of this trip. Again, that's statuscoup.com/Nina Turner. So shout out to some supporters. Justin, thank you. Isabel, thank you. Joseph, thank you. Sally, Margaret, Scotty, Shelly, Michael, Hallie, Alicia, Dina, Catherine, Anne, Christopher, Jason, William, Max, Vincent, Robin, Ari Takor, Carlos, and I think we're caught up. Now, thank you guys so much. If it's financially feasible for you, please help us. We really do need the help. As Jordan announced, we've made the decision to drive to Flint. Cleveland's about 3 hours away from Flint. So you guys know that our major bombshell Flint story came out. The House Oversight Committee is calling for an investigation based on it. In summary, what our report found is destruction of Flint water crisis evidence, deleted and obstructed messages on phones, withholding of documents from Governor Snyder's office, etc. It's serious stuff. You can check that out at statuscoup.pub/Flint water cover up, and you have to capitalize the F, the W, the C, and the U. But the decision to go on to Flint is multi-part, and we'll speak more about it, but part of it's to bring more awareness to the story. This is truly the biggest cover-up of the century, as Jordan says. This is a majority black, poor city that is sick. People are dying and sick. People have already died from this. This was murder. And so we're gonna get the story out more. We're going to interview more residents so people can see what is happening. The Flint water crisis is not over. We're the only ones doing that. So please, again, if it's financially feasible, you can support us via statuscoup.com/Nina Turner, or if you prefer, GoFundMe.com/statuscoup, or PayPal.me/statuscoup.
Thank you for the super chat. Tanya H, 20 euros. Love our friends across the pond. Andre Gale, $20. The establishment will be establishment. What never ceases to surprise me is how incapable the working class proves itself to be of separating substance from emotion, when ironically the substance will address their emotions. The corporate media does a very good job of keeping the working class clueless and numb. Trish Taylor, thanks for the $10. I think we should also address and kind of spin it forward. And by the way, I am monitoring any shenanigans. We already know they've changed polling places last minute, which they do constantly during Democratic primaries it's a form of voter suppression to suppress turnout. So I tweeted about that a few days ago, that they just, interestingly enough, changed polling places last minute. I haven't heard that much. I haven't heard really anything yet in terms of really suspicious or, horrible shenanigans, but we are monitoring it. So if I hear of anything, if we confirm anything, we'll tell you. Again, already nearly 30,000 people have early voted, so that's pretty good. 700,000 people live in the district, but 30,000 people have early voted. But I think we should talk about, if Nina Turner wins, what does that say? Because I think a lot of media will. Well, if Nina Turner wins, the establishment media will pretend it doesn't matter. If she loses, they'll say the Bernie movement is dead. So we know how that's going to go. But let's talk about what it actually would mean if she wins. To me, there would be many things that this means. First of all, I think it would mean the narrative and the propaganda that the media has used now for 5 years, that the progressive message is not a winning message in the Midwest, particularly. We saw that used against Bernie with Hillary Clinton in 2016. With Joe Biden, it was fucking fed to people nonstop. People in the Midwest don't want Medicare for all. People in the Midwest don't want a Green New Deal. They don't want free stuff, blah, 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 blah. People in the Midwest are moderate. Granted, Cleveland is not the entire Midwest, but it is the Midwest. It's the Rust Belt. So if Nina Turner wins, that kind of debunks that bullshit, because people absolutely want Medicare for all. If you notice, during the Democratic primaries, even though Biden won, every state that he won, every state period, even including Mississippi, the exit polls showed the majority of voters that voted supported Medicare for all. So it would really challenge the narrative. The Democratic Party will have to come up with something new other than bad manners, socialists, blah, 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 because it would be a big capital P victory, meaning capital P progressive, for Medicare for all, for a Green New Deal, and running on these things and winning in a fairly establishment district. We're not talking about like a red district. We're talking about an establishment, blue no matter who district. They would be voting not just for Nina Turner, but for Medicare for all and these things. I also think, in terms of what it means for the progressive movement in Congress, Jen and I have already litigated this till we're blue in the face. We're not going to get into all of this, the sellouts, the frauds, the cowards. If you think Nina Turner's a sellout or she's not progressive enough for you, then you probably shouldn't watch us, because we obviously disagree. However, Jen, I think Nina Turner coming to Congress would be a really good thing for progressives in terms of actual fighting, because, we've already given our opinion about the squad. I think Nina Turner has a lot more experience than the squad. She's gotten stuff done on the local level as a city council person, as a state senator. In my dealings with her, she's not politically naive at all. And we're already seeing she's willing to fight the establishment, because that's what she's doing during this campaign. She has run blistering ads against the establishment. And she just said the other day, I'm not going there to be a puppet. So what are your thoughts in terms of, if she wins, how that would play out?
I obviously think it would be a good a good thing, to give a very simple answer. AOC has said, I need Nina Turner. Send me Nina Turner. And I think that's very true. In order for folks like AOC, Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Pramila Jayapal, like, et cetera, whoever you consider to be progressive, Jamal Bowman, to do more and do better and maybe even do some of the things that people are rightly calling them out for not doing, they need a Nina Turner. The more people you have sort of on your side, on your team, the more power you feel like you have. And the more power you actually do have. Having Nina Turner in office would clearly give the squad more power. It would clearly give progressives more power. How can we be so certain about that? Well, let me go back again to a quote from Senator Bernie Sanders from this past Saturday, which I think really nicely sums this up, and it's what we've been saying all along. To me, what is really remarkable about this particular election is the incredible amount of money that the powerful special interests of this country are spending trying to defeat Nina. So I ask the people of Cleveland a very simple question. Why is it that the drug companies and the insurance companies and the fossil fuel industry and Wall Street and people who supported Donald Trump are pouring millions of dollars into this campaign to defeat Nina Turner? And the answer is pretty simple. They know that when she is elected, she's going to stand up and take them on in the fight for justice. If the establishment and even the right wing didn't think that Nina Turner was a true progressive champion, if they didn't think that she was going to help increase the power of the progressives already in office, they wouldn't be spending this money. They wouldn't be running these absurd attacks against her. Think about it. There's a reason. The reason is they're scared of Nina Turner because Nina Turner stands for the people.
And welcome new Status Coup member, Sylvia. Woo-hoo!
Yay, Sylvia!
So we're 85 members away, 85 members away from 2,000. So, we've been trying to get to 2,000 for a while. We were actually close to it, but then the pandemic happened. Obviously, a lot of people fell on tough times, had to cancel. We do have actually more members starting to reach out to us saying, hey, Jordan, I had to cancel because of tough economic times, but I just signed back up. So really happy to have you back. And membership is how we grow. It is very, very difficult to do in-the-field reporting, meaning leaving our studios and going around America and giving a microphone to the people because it costs hotels, flights, rent-a-car, food, equipment. Colin just joined us more permanently. He was part-time for a long time, but now he's with us on a more permanent basis. All of this costs money. So we're showing you what we're spending the money on. Trust me, we're not going to a casino. It's to do this reporting. So please sign up if you can, statuscoup.com/join.
And welcome new Status Coup YouTube member, Michael Wilson. Woohoo! Thank you, Michael. I want to show, and Colin, if you can zoom in on my screen, this is what I was trying to illustrate earlier. So we talked about the fact that Jill Stein and Nina Turner's names are trending on Twitter together, and that many thousands of retweets and things from some prominent accounts have been shared about this. So yeah, sure, Ohio 11, Cleveland, and Akron might not be staring at their Twitter app, as I said, but look, do the perhaps older, more establishment folks read Newsweek? Sure they do. Sure they read Newsweek. And now look what Newsweek has done with that trending event. They've taken the fact that people are smearing Nina Turner by using Jill Stein's name, and they've turned it into an article. And this is happening with other outlets as well. So this is not just about Twitter. They aggregate that stuff, they show that stuff, and this is how they get it out to the older voters. And they're putting out all the stops. Every ding they can put in Nina Turner's armor is good in their opinion.
But interestingly enough, they're not tweeting out their story about Chantel Brown possibly facing criminal charges for laundering money, government contracts to her romantic partner.
Fascinating.
And that was Newsweek's story. Well, Walker Bragman and Andrew Perez did it for Newsweek. So before we go, because we're probably going to go to a polling place, listen, we'll say this. Do not bow down to any one politician. Nina Turner is not a god. If she gets elected, you don't just sit back and say, oh, great. No, you gotta watch her. You gotta pressure her. If she, I was just arguing with someone on Twitter. No politician is going to do what you want 100% of the time. That's just not a thing. Even the most diehard ones. They're not going to do what you want 100% of the time. So we need to get out of this mentality that if they're not doing what we want 100% of the time, cancel them, they're frauds, they're sellouts. That's just not how the real world works. And we have coup in our name. So we're not like little, we're not worshipers of politicians. If Nina Turner gets in there and she folds like a cheap tent, like the squad has, then we're going to criticize her and challenge her just like the rest of you. But at the end of the day, you have to look at political and personal track records. I think a lot of people that have grown cynical just kind of have amnesia. This is a person that over the last 5 years has shown consistent character and consistent progressive values, and not progressive values that she's just trying to move up and get elected and go along and go on magazine covers with Nancy Pelosi. She hasn't shown you that. Okay, she didn't go to the Medicare for All march because it was a week before the election and she was campaigning. I mean, if she was running her campaign on expanding Medicare or access, then maybe we'd have something to talk about. She's not. She's been running on Medicare for All. So, I say don't let your frustration with this group or the squad, don't project that onto Nina Turner, because I've been inspired the last few days seeing, all we're seeing the last few months are people ranting and raving on the internet and fighting each other. We've been inspired to be here and see, oh no, there's people actually doing shit and organizing and trying and still inspired and still working to get somebody like Nina elected. And not because they blindly, worship Nina Turner or blindly worship politicians, but because they see what we're talking about. They see that she has a track record, that she's been consistent. She's been going after the Democratic establishment. Just because she hasn't been ranting and raving in interviews against Joe Biden, that would not be smart in a very blue district that voted overwhelmingly for Joe Biden. So, this is an important election. Will it 100% change the progressive movement for the better if she wins? No, we still have a lot of work to do. We have a corporatist president, a corporatist Democratic Party, a corrupt government. It's going to take a lot more than Nina Turner, but it is a step in the right direction. We will be. We're probably going to go to a polling place live in a little bit. So make sure you're signed up for our text messages, statuscoup.pub/text.
Sorry, I got it wrong the other day. It's actually statuscoup.com.
Oh, so I got it right.
Oopsie.
And you got it wrong. Status
That doesn't happen often.
statuscoup.com/text. So you'll get a text message. Keep signing up as a member.
Welcome, Andre, and welcome, Nathan, to YouTube Status Coup membership. Woohoo! You'll see some behind-the-scenes stuff already posted for you, and I have a lot more for you. So keep joining, guys. Statuscoup.com/join. Thank you for these amazing super chats, including from Dougie D. Douglas. That's a cool name. I hope that's like actually your full name. Very cool. Lots of Dougs and D's. Also, help support us. Whoa, another new member. No, that's the same one. Nathan. Double shout outs to Nathan. Help support us. This trip costs a lot. We love and appreciate your memberships. If you're financially unable to support us, your shares, your tweets, you're smashing the like buttons, you're telling people about Status Coup, it really helps. But if it is financially feasible for you, then please go to statuscoup.com/Nina Turner. You'll see a button there where you can support us at any amount via PayPal or Stripe. You'll also see behind the scenes photos and like daily blog updates. I'm a little behind, but we've been busy, but I will update that with more. You can also support us via GoFundMe.com/statuscoup or PayPal.me/statuscoup. Any amount helps. We're going on to Flint after this to further highlight our really bombshell of a story about former governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, showing his complicity in poisoning and murdering in a majority black poor city. So you can read that at statuscoup.pub/Flint water cover-up. And again, you can support us at any amount via the links I just spoke about.
And I do have an update, actually, before we go, because I just got a message from a source. So if you live in Cleveland, you'll know what I'm talking about. But right now, the highest turnout right now on Election Day is in Richmond Heights. Richmond Heights is a city in Cuyahoga County. Cuyahoga County is in Cleveland. Nina Turner was a councilwoman in Cuyahoga County. So the fact that the highest turnout right now is in Richmond Heights, which Nina Turner was a councilwoman for, can't be a bad thing. That there's very high turnout in the area she was a councilwoman. Also, a former state representative from Richmond Heights ran to replace Nina Turner when Nina Turner became an Ohio State senator. So might mean nothing, but it's good that there's high turnout in the area Nina Turner represented when she was on the city council here. So we'll keep updating you. Follow me on Twitter at statuscoup. Also, we'll put out updates. So yeah.
And thank you guys for your super chats as well. I apologize that we couldn't read all of them. Some that just came in from Ava, $4.99. I wish I could send more, but I'm inspired by Jordan and Jennifer. Thank you so much, Ava. We appreciate it. Anthony, $2. Keep up the great reporting, Jordan. Jen Perlman. Oh, so it sounds like you guys made it. So $5 in the super chat. Looking forward to meeting the other Jen tonight. So that's awesome. So you guys definitely tune in at the results party because we'll pop Jen Perlman on and Peter Hager. You guys know them and love them. Very excited. It'll be a nail biter. It seems, as the results come in, much closer than earlier polling indicated. Right now, we really only have polling from a Chantel Brown supportive group and from Chantel Brown's campaign.
Right.
So it's really, who the hell knows what's going to happen. So definitely stay tuned to us. Again, sign up for text alerts. Welcome, new Status Coup YouTube member, Chatterbox, cool name, and
Awesome.
welcome. You guys are fantastic, amazing. Love you so much. Sharon, thank you so much for the statuscoup.com/Nina Turner support. Kenneth, thank you. Same thing. Your support means the world. We appreciate you guys.
And also, the polls close at 7:30 Eastern, so that's 4:30 Pacific. So still plenty of time for people, in the local area to knock on doors. I know Nina's campaign has put out messages, not only for door knocking, but to make phone calls. So still plenty of time before the polls close in, what are we at, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, little over 5.5 hours.
People want to know when the results party is around 6, right?
Yeah.
So around 6 p.m. Eastern.
No, the vote, I think it starts at like 7-ish.
Okay.
We'll be there a little early.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly when we'll be going live. Look for us. Get on our text list, statuscoup.com/text. Yeah.
And
Scott, email us at info@statuscoup.com. We'd love to if we're able to. I'm not sure about our exact timeline today.
right. One sec. Keep talking. I'm looking at something.
So, yeah, it's there's a lot of enthusiasm on the ground, of course, for Nina Turner. She has a good get out the vote operation. It is a special election, and it's just true that it's hard enough to get people out to the polls anyway in a regular election. But a special election, forget it. So that's what people are running up against. That's what Nina is running up against. and her volunteers trying to get people out to the polls. And that is really what this is going to come down to. You have folks who maybe were thinking of voting, but it's a Tuesday. They've changed some polling locations. Their polls are not staying open like super late. People work. It's hard. It's the dead of summer. People might be away. People are economically devastated. They might be facing eviction right now. So some of the very same people that Nina Turner is trying to help by becoming a member of Congress might not be able to get to the polls today. So we know, from speaking to folks, that she has a lot of volunteers kind of running around Ohio's 11th district trying to get people out to the polls.
And just to give a little bit more specific, right now I'm looking at the Board of Elections. They have a live update on turnout and those kind of things. So Cleveland has, on the east side, has 12 wards. So Nina represented the first ward, Cleveland Ward 1. And right now that has the highest turnout on Election Day. Of the 12 wards on the east side of Cleveland, which is the more poorer area, right now, the ward that Nina had represented while a city council member, Ward 1, has the highest turnout at 14.5%. So that's not even great turnout, but this is a special election, and it's not expected to have huge turnout. So compared to the other wards, Ward 1, where Nina represented, is almost at 15% turnout. The other ones, Ward 2 is less than 10% turnout. Ward 4 is close to 12% turnout. Ward 5 is less than 5% turnout. Ward 6 is less than 10%, and on and on. Ward 7 is less than 7%. Ward 8 less than 10%. So Ward 1, where Nina represented, right now has the highest turnout on the east side of Cleveland. I'm looking at the west side. On the west side of Cleveland, turnout is not good. 7.4% for the third ward, Cleveland 11. The 11th ward is less than 6%. So the highest turnout right now, and again, this doesn't necessarily mean it's Nina winning, but at least in the ward that she represented, Ward 1, has the highest turnout right now. Obviously, this can change because it's hours before the polls change.
And the eastern section of Cleveland is less wealthy in general, so that might be a good sign.
Right. So also, overall, Election Day is making up almost 45% of the vote has been on Election Day. 55% of the vote has been absentee. So right now, Election Day is less than the absentee vote. So, that could mean a whole lot of things. So I'll keep monitoring this. But as of right now, the highest turnout is in Ward 1, which is where Nina Turner represented as a city council person. So,
Fly Chomper Fly, $5 in the super chat, says just now on phone bank talked to strong Nina supporter who didn't even know the election was today. Someone else had a similar call who are making a difference. So yeah, a lot of people who don't even, I don't know where you live, Fly Trump or Fly, but who don't even live in Cleveland or Akron or other spots in a Ward 11 in Ohio, are from around the country making calls, doing texts, getting the word out, doing true get out the vote operations. So yeah, that's something folks are doing and can do from home.
And that's what I said at the beginning of this. Half the battle is people don't even know there is an election. So that's why door knocking matters. I think the term organizing is often overused. Not in this case. It matters that Nina Turner has a way stronger ground game, including, as I was saying, we saw yesterday, people came in from Los Angeles, Virginia, Texas, Washington State, a whole lot of other areas in the dead of summer. People are coming in to knock doors. There are obviously local people who live here also knocking doors for Nina Turner. So thank you for watching. We're probably going to eat and then maybe head to a polling place. We will definitely be live tonight. Probably set your calendar. We'll probably be live between 6:30 and 7 o'clock Eastern. And results should start coming in around 7:30 Eastern. So we'll be live before the results start coming in. And please sign up. We are currently 85 members away from 2,000. So can we get 85 today? Who knows? Oh, we just got another new member, Dominic. Dominic, welcome. So we're now 84 members away from 2,000. $5 a month, statuscoup.com/join. Support us so we could continue reporting in the field. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in a little bit.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Statuscoup.com/join, statuscoup.com/Nina Turner. Behind the scenes stuff going up in both places, but especially for members. We love you guys. We'll be live soon, probably from a polling location. No exact time set yet. We do need to eat, which we have not yet done today. Busy bees. So go to statuscoup.com/text to get text alert when we go live again. You guys are wonderful. We appreciate you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.